Hi, everyone. It's Suzanne with Hello Gorgeous Life, and I was guided and kind of my hand was forced into having a conversation with you guys. There's a lot of shifts and changes going on right now that are pretty intense for a lot of us. Several of us are, I don't know who this is exactly for, but it's somebody that, like myself, is going through a lot of shifts and changes that are in their upgrades and their dynamic shifts. And one of the things that they talked about is as we're going through our shifts and changes, we're going through kind of like parallel life tapping into is the best way to describe it. So, as we're going through our changes, we tap into our other versions of ourselves that are already existing and they're doing different jobs, they're doing different lives. Okay, there's parallel lives, there's a lot of science behind it. You guys can check it out. I'm just sharing, I'm just the messenger. When we go to visit those other lives or those other versions of ourselves, it almost can be overwhelming because we're bringing back elements or parts or traits or experiences, emotions from that life. And so what's happening is you come back into this world that you're currently living in. Like for me, I'm in an RV and I'm in Alaska and all these different things this month. And it gets overwhelming. And one of the things that is triggering, because last night I went to a class done by a doctor who was in the mental health slash he's a physician. But one of the things that really stood out to me was I had a huge fascination for mental health when I was younger. I wanted to become a psychiatrist. And long story short, that wasn't the path that I took. I naturally have that ability, and for 20 plus years I've been a hairdresser. My clients would always say, it feels like I'm getting therapy, and shouldn't I be paying you for my therapy time? And I would laugh and say, well, that's what I do. So one of the things he talked about was chronic stress overload. And then, so he talked about it, and he talked, sharing all these different aspects and pieces of it. And then one of the things that really stood out was there's some PTSD going on for a lot of us. There's a triggers, there's other lifetime emotions, there's other places in our world that we have been kind of dealing with life, dealing with everything. So, you're not alone, okay? We're all together in this. It's super, super, super important to take care of yourself. One of the things that he really talked about, and I loved it because it's kind of a very layman's terms approach, but it does work. One, self-care, exercise, nutrition, meditation, relaxation, things like that. The part that are one of the triggers in stress can be the fact that we feel kind of out of control. Out of control can stem from when you have overstimuli. So there's too much noise in your background or too much noise in your life. You need to quiet the noise down. You need to take control of your environment. If your environment is overstimulating your nerves, your body, your senses, then you need to quiet the environment. Sometimes people need soft, almost like what I call like classical music or spa music to kind of bring them back down, because sometimes we're so exposed to so many things that we forget to take the time and the moments to kind of get back into balance, and these are why I create these, all of these things that I make and create are what help to bring us back in. And every time I feel like, why am I spending my time on this? I could be doing other things that would make money. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's still the world that I have to live in, and I have to feed my body, and I have to put a bra on. I have to buy those. So those are real things. He also talked about practicing mindfulness. And mindfulness, believe it or not, is to recognize your signs and symptoms when you are kind of out of whack, when you are you kind of, they call it the old burning the candle at both ends. Well, if you keep burning the candle at both ends, in the middle it explodes, and that's when you see a lot of illness and sickness going on. Your body is literally forcing you to take a time out. It's forcing you to do things. So part of this ascension and part of these changes, okay, now they're coming through really fast, is, I don't mean to be speaking so fast, but they're coming through, is if you have been consistently abusing the physical body, how do you expect to expand with your awakening? Okay, I can't do an upgrade on my spiritual stuff if I'm going, I don't give a shit. I'm going to eat what I want. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to break the rules. I'm going to, well, you're literally telling your spiritual body, I don't care about you, so I'm not going to take care of you. There, it is ebb and flow. There are times when you have to cut back on things. You have to say no. You have to take the time to say, okay, I will eat better. I'll drink more water, whatever. But in general, when we start getting into these new bodies, these new ascension, you physically are changing. There are times when I go by a mirror and I'm like, who's that? Who is that person? I don't recognize her. I know it's a her. I know it's me. It's my voice, but I don't recognize her because it's so intense, and things have changed. My hands have changed. My face has changed. My hair has changed. The texture of my hair has changed. How I even the way clothes fit my body. My body has changed. It's not a bad thing. There's two parts. One, I am 49 years old, so I'm getting older. Okay, so my body has shifted and changed. But there's also that part of your spiritual body sometimes has to expand in order to do the upgrades, and sometimes then when it gets to that happy medium, it will shrink back down. Don't beat yourself up. Love yourself. That is the biggest part of all of this. Is if I could trust, people say, they're so hard on themselves, they're so hard on their person, but if you're a mama or a daddy and you loved your babies, and when they would beat themselves up, you would say to yourself, oh, no, sweetie, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're lovely, you're perfect, you're created as God created. And then you turn around and go in the bedroom and you say that same thing to yourself. How are you teaching? How are you teaching as a parent, as an auntie, or as an uncle, as a grandma, or as a grandpa? How are you teaching them to love themselves unconditionally if you yourself can't love yourself unconditionally? So it starts with you. It starts with self-care. It starts with being love, okay? Loving your wrinkles, loving your broken fingernail, loving that part of you that, those socks feel good today. My favorite pair of socks. Okay, sometimes it's about wearing your favorite underwear, and sometimes it's throwing the underwear out that has holes and honoring yourself and buying new underwear. I'm sorry if it seems as simple as that, but that's what self-care is. And part of the what's going on with us is we're trying to learn how to live in this new experience. Turn off the TV. Don't watch the news. I did that years ago. That is a stressor. Okay, you guys, don't. If you see a bunch of stuff coming across your Facebook, get off the Facebook. Do something else. If you are having a day where you can't get your head together, you are all over the place, then do something that feeds you better. Like I have my Kindle and I have books that I read that kind of bring my mind back around. Or like I have my cup of tea. Ginger tea is one of my, I find it at Target occasionally. It's a little green can and it's just bags of ginger tea and it's really good. But sometimes it helps because I don't want just water. I'm like, I don't want just water. But sometimes having a non-caffeinated tea. Okay, I love my coffee girls and boys. Okay, I'm no different than you guys. What the difference is that when I go through it, I'm told to share it. So as I'm going through this and I'm being triggered, I'm sharing information. That's all. I just want to share that with you guys. If you have any other questions or you have any other, you want me to expand or expel on something, let me know. I make these healing devices for a reason, and they're for you guys. Please feel free to check out my Etsy page. It's hellogorgeouslife.net. It'll take you there. I have way more with me than I put on there. Like even these guys aren't even on there, and these things are crazy fun little pucks that I can hold on to. I can stick in my pocket. I carry ones in my purse when I go out. Sometimes if I'm somewhere and I meet someone and I see they're having a rough moment, I'll give them one. You guys can make these too. It's just a lot of people don't want to deal with all the mess. So, it costs money to make them. As far as I try to keep them reasonable, because they're also infused with Reiki healing. I'm being guided by the highest God, highest, my higher self, highest God, my Atlantis knowledge, to come in and make these. And so I just want to help you guys. So anyways, much love and light. I love you guys. If you want more information on this, I can share more about stuff, but you guys are wonderful. Mwah.